Hey, my name is God, Joe Martin here with Real Men Connect, where we help good men become great men God's way by providing with real answers to real problems in the real world. Welcome to the Real Men Ride Along. I'm on the highway right now, on my way to Atlanta to speak at a men's event. I'm excited about speaking to a large group of men tonight in Atlanta. We're going to have a great time in the Lord, and we're going to talk about brotherhood. But guys, I want to shoot this video while I'm driving to this event because I met with my discipleship brothers this morning. We have a small group of men that I meet with every Saturday morning at 6:30. It's called Every Man a Warrior. It's a disciple-making group. But we had an interesting discussion today about men and their struggles. And guys, I wanted to shoot this video because it's more of an observation more so than a teaching lesson. But we were talking about men and their struggles and why we do some of the things that we do and why men struggle so much. Now, let me preface this by saying that we all are struggling. We all are struggling just to different degrees. There's always going to be suffering. There's always going to be pain and some trials and tribulations that we're going to go through. The Bible tells us that. But it's not about whether or not we're facing these things, but it's how we choose to face them. So I wanted to shoot this quick video to let you in on an observation that I had. And maybe I might do this on the Real Men Connect check-in as well, because I think this is important for us to understand and realize. What I realized that we can't avoid suffering, we can't avoid pain, we can't avoid struggle. However, we do get to choose how we respond to those struggles. And you know that already. That it's not about what happens to us, but how we choose to respond. But this is what I wanted to share with you that you may not have been aware of, because it was just a revelation, and I thank the Lord for revealing it to me in the Spirit, about when we are facing trials and tribulations, struggles, and hard times or whatever, that we as men, we have three choices. Three choices. Now, I'm not talking about just three options. It's three choices that we always make. It's one of these three. And we make these choices all the time. We just don't think about it when we do. And as I reveal these three choices to you, I want you to think about, how do you respond to adversity? How do you respond to your struggles? How do you respond to suffering? How do you respond to pain and loss and hardships? You know what I'm talking about. So here are the three options that we have, and we're going to do this whether we like it or not. In other words, there's no way of avoiding these three choices. Here's what we can do. When we're faced with something tough in our lives and a challenge in our lives, one option that we have that we typically can choose to do is that we can go to God. We can go to God. And when I say go to God, that means we run to God. We leave the crowd. We leave our family. We leave everybody else I'm talking about from an emotional standpoint. And we spend a long time with God, going to God in prayer about it, fasting, asking God questions, journaling, crying out to God, worshiping God. Jesus did this when he would move himself away from the crowd. When he left the disciples, Jesus would go alone and spend a long time with the Father. And the Father would communicate to him and replenish him, so when he went back to the group, he can minister to them as well. So you get the point. So that's one option that we have, is that we can go to God. Here's the second option that we choose, whether we do it consciously or unconsciously. We may not go to God when we're struggling, but we may choose to go, what I call, to community. To community. Now, what I mean community, that means we go in the company of other people. Now, it could be our family members, it could be our spouses, it can be older adult children, that we go to be around them so they can encourage us, support us, and strengthen us. And so typically we reach out to another brother, like what I'm going to talk to these guys about today, about the importance of brotherhood. Because every man needs to have a community of men that he's surrounded by. Now, it doesn't have to be an army of men, but he needs to have some type of community connection, whether it be with a team of men or some teammates who are in his inner circle. Jesus had that with his inner circle of men were Peter, James, and John. And so sometimes we may not go to the Father, but we may go to our community, to our brotherhood, to our friends, to our family, our support system. So you got those two choices. We can go to God, we can go to community. Now, here's the third option that was the revelation to me. None of those things probably still surprise you, but this third one surprised me. A lot of times when we get in trouble as men, we don't go to God. We don't go to our friends and our support. What we claim we do is that we go to be by ourselves. And when we say we go to be by ourselves, that means we isolate ourselves from everybody, every person, including our wives, including everybody else, because we just need some me time, right? And we think that is helpful. Here's what I found out. That's not really the option that we're choosing. We can either choose to go to God, we can choose to be in community, but when we choose to go and isolate ourselves, we're actually choosing to go to the enemy. Wow. Let me say that again. When we choose not to go to God, we choose not to go to community of our support, and we say we're going to be by ourselves, we're actually choosing to spend time with the enemy. Now let that sink in for just a second. Now we're not doing this intentionally. We don't want to be in the company of the enemy. We don't want to be influenced by the enemy. But however, when we're choosing not to communicate with the body of believers, which is our community, or with the Father himself, who do you think is going to be in your ear when you're by yourself? It is going to be the enemy. And if you've watched any of our other videos, you know that the enemy, the only power that he has is the power of suggestion. And when he gets you by yourself, when you think you're by yourself, that's when the enemy wants to try to come in to deceive you, to steal, kill, and destroy. And he can do that through accusations to you and having you question your identity in Christ. He can do it through distractions, of letting you pursue something that's not God's best, that it may be good, but it's not God's best. And that distraction can be anything. It can be something detrimental and harm to you when it comes to addictions. Or he can use something to discourage you, to speak to you, to make you believe that you cannot continue on. There is no hope. So guys, I'm hoping that this really sinks in, because this really hit me like a ton of bricks. That when we're faced with any struggle, any challenge, anything hard in our lives that is threatening our peace, our joy, we have three choices. We can go to God, we can go to a body of believers in our community, or we can go say we're being alone, going to be alone, and we can get ourselves exposed to the enemy. Guys, please, 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 I'm begging you, do not allow the enemy to get you alone. He loves playing one-on-one sports. Do not play the enemy's game of one-on-one. Make sure you're in the company of the Father, or you're in the company of other believers, because there's strength in numbers. All of us will always be stronger than just one of us. So guys, if you're struggling with that, please go to God in prayer and ask him, God, what am I doing? Because when Jesus went away by himself, Jesus didn't say, I don't need God, I don't want my community, I just need to be by myself. No, Jesus was always in the company of the Father or the company of other believers. So guys, I hope this is a blessing to you. And if it has, share with another brother who may not know his options when it comes to getting support that he needs. And guys, remember, we're males by birth, we are men by choice. So each and every day, choose to be the man that God called and created you to be, because a male is a terrible, terrible thing to waste. So until next time, be blessed, stay strong, and as always, you know, stay in God's grip. I love you, and pray for me for this event. I'll talk to you soon.